Western Spring Television, ours it is.
Hello and welcome. Good afternoon too, I should say. And welcome to Western Spring Television and to the program Pertinent Questions, one-on-one interview program this station brings to you every Monday at about this time. Let me begin by saying that every culture has its own norms and mysteries. You can't embrace a culture and renounce the mysteries around it. What do I mean? You will find out in the course of this presentation. Nigerian broadcasts broadcasting and communication field has been invaded, or they both have been invaded one way or the other ever since General IBB deregulated the industry. To some extent, the proliferation has allowed the field to be on for almost all comers. A broadcast and communication expert will discuss this sooner than later. It is 3 weeks since Nigeria's President BAT started hitting the ground running in his own style of leading governance. My guest will veer into that road and look at what Nigerians have seen or what they want to see as we travel that journey. He's an elder statesman. My guest is a communication consultant, a renowned broadcaster, a film and television producer. He is the executive vice president of a television production center in Osogbo called Comat Custos. FOLUSO ADEDIGBA is the name. He's a friend, he's a colleague, and a partner in progress because we belong to the same field. You are most welcome, FOLUSO.
Thank you very much.
To the studios of Western Spring and on Pertinent Questions.
Thank you very much.
Have you been here before?
This is the first time that I'll be here.
Mm-hmm. Let's begin in that lighter mood. How do you assess this place?
Well, it's very, very inviting, very attractive. Mm-hmm. And you see state-of-the-art equipment here. One cannot but be impressed by seeing for what one is seeing here. I think I must congratulate our brother,
your boy,
who has put this thing in place. And I can see not only the equipment being state-of-the-art, I can see the operators also being skillful. I can see professionalism in them. In fact, one of them I had known when we were together in OSBC, a professional, a thorough cameraman. I can see him here too, as he's working as a studio manager here. Everything here is very, very impressive.
Okay. So, the boy deserves congratulations, and you have done it.
Yeah, I've done that, yes. And he deserves some cola.
We will look at that possibility in due course. Yes, coming back to the nitty-gritty of things. You have been a film producer for some time. We'll come to that and also find out what's in the offering. Let's begin from your field. What is broadcasting? What is communication? And how can we relate the two together?
Well, communication, simply put, is the sharing of ideas between people or amongst people, between one person and the other. Ideas, feelings, projecting feelings, projecting ideas, and exchanging these ideas and feelings with the aim of achieving something, so that you will find out that the communication you expect between, say, a farmer and an agri expert will be a little bit different from the one you would expect from the marketer of electronics and the consumer of what comes from the electronics.
Okay.
But the central thing is that there is an idea, there's a feeling that you are transmitting to one another, that you are exchanging, so that you can achieve a particular goal.
Broadcasting also.
Broadcasting is an aspect of communication. Communication is large, very, very large. You can have, in any case, you can structure communication. It can be structured, it can be formal, it can be informal. Two people can talk, that's communication. We can set things. Communication within the cultural setting too, some formal, some not formal. But broadcasting has to do with communication using electronics. Traditionally, either as television broadcasting or radio broadcasting.
Now, I try to allow you to explain and expatiate because of the question I want to ask next. We live in a society which today will talk about information, misinformation, disinformation, and what has become the new cliche, fake news. I want you to pick them one after the other. What is information? What is misinformation? What is disinformation? And what is fake news?
Okay, let's start with information. It's a piece of ideas that you want to present correctly. Now, when you present such ideas, for instance, from government, as it is written or pronounced by government, then you are sharing information. It could also be scientific. You know that the sun rises from the west,
Sets.
and the east. No, it rises from the east, and certainly it is information, and it will always be there. Because some information are perennial, it will always be there. That the sun rising from the east and setting in the west, you can't change that.
Like a river flowing.
Good.
You can't
can't change it.
Yeah.
So when you say, this is what is happening, then you are giving information. That is information. But then you can also give information about happenings, particularly news. But when you now give information that is not correct, that is misinformation. Actually, misinformation and disinformation mean almost the same thing. It means that you are not giving correct information. But the difference is this. When you misinform, you might not have been doing it deliberately. Maybe there is a development on a particular piece of information you haven't got, and you're still sticking to an old piece of information. You are not informing properly. Or you got a piece of information from where you did not verify, you did not authenticate, and you said, okay, you are bringing it out. That could be misinformation. But this information is a deliberate, deliberate spreading of information that is not correct. You know that the president is in Abuja meeting with
Labour.
Good, meeting with Labour. But you are now saying that you just heard that the president is on his way to Qatar to go and negotiate electricity, something. That is deliberate spreading of false information. That is disinformation. Now, fake information, we'll now put all this together. You put all this together and it's under fake information. Fake news. And it is, the fake news is prevalent now in the social media. You see some, or you hear some in traditional areas of communication, but it is most prevalent because it is so simple. I'll just think about you, get a video or a clip about you, and I send it, and people will just be spreading. No, people don't even ask questions. And some people will receive video clips and think that it is compulsory they spread. It is not every piece of information that you get that you must spread. Why don't you sit down once, look at what you have seen and ask questions. Is it possible? And technology, communication technology has gone a long way that certain things can be done.
In that case, why do you think, therefore, that humanity, because it's not only in Nigeria, will not want to cross-check anything, just forward and then share deliberately when they should know that it is wrong?
Because there are so many reasons why they will do that. Some people will benefit from spreading from wrong information. So you deliberately want to spread. You want to malign somebody's character. You spread false information to malign that person's character. And some people will just see the thing as mere joke. They call it, sometimes they call it prank. Sometimes you want to spread prank. So that is the, and then there's the issue of being lazy to ask questions to authenticate before you spread. Some would act on the spur of the moment. They do not think deep. When you see something, you just spread it. These are the reasons why the thing would continue. There would be measures in place to curb it, and I think there are. But for now, the measures are not winning.
Good. The measures are not winning. Let's leave the social media and come to the traditional media, broadcasting particularly. That's where you really are on terra firma. Is broadcasting at the professional level on the heights, or at the height that it should be, given the consideration that way back in the 50s, Nigeria had already started broadcasting? One would have expected that the height would be what Awolowo calls acme.
The acme of that profession. Yes, that would have been so if, with the proliferation of broadcast houses, there's also a corresponding proliferation of deepening of skills. Skills are not deepened now. In those days, before you could say you were a broadcaster, you must have undergone certain kind of skill and training, which they do not. It doesn't seem to be happening nowadays. So, as far as one is concerned, it has not reached that acme, and unless things change, it will not reach that acme. Now we have. We're in a world that's not even a village. The whole world is a sitting room now. It's a sitting room. So you watch CNN and you see things that are going on there. The equipment there, you acquire the equipment, and you want to at least catch up with that, with things you have seen outside the country. The problem there is that your consumers would want something comparable to those ones outside the country, and you want to meet what they, yet you don't have the skill. Sometimes you don't even have the equipment. So that's why we will have the problem.
Am I right, therefore, in suggesting that proliferation in the industry has shot the industry in the leg and make it a little bit immobile?
No, you will know that for every event, not every event, but most events in the world, there are pros and cons. There are advantages and disadvantages, merits and demerits. There are merits about proliferation. The first thing you will notice about it is that it provides job for so many people. But the major demerit is that we do not accompany this thing with appropriate training and for people to acquire the appropriate skill, so that the ethics of the profession, many broadcasters don't even have an iota of idea about the ethics of their profession. Ethics of their profession. So That is the problem. If we can look at those areas, how can we imbue broadcasters with the good idea and the ethics of the profession? Maybe we are strengthening the oversight function of NBC. Maybe broadcast proprietors can come together and centralize training and look at ideas that they can work. Maybe we'll have...
it looks like I have almost got the answer to my next question, but I will still fire it. Okay. Are you satisfied with the performance of especially on-air personalities and broadcasters generally? No. In fact,
you measure the performance of a broadcast outfit by what the on-air personalities are doing. And I tell you, most on-air personalities in Nigeria today, particularly where we're used to good broadcasting, are not doing well. Not doing well at all, especially where you begin to see them being victims of affectation. Yeah. When you tune to some radio stations in Lagos, you think you're on the streets of Philadelphia, but it is fake. But you're on Lagos Island, and you begin to hear something like you are in Chicago. But the problem is it is fake. What they bring it, because immediately something happens when they are faking, then they come to their natural self. So our personalities have not been doing well in that wise. They have also not been doing well in the areas of ethics. I know a lot of Yoruba programs, for instance, where they will present fiction as fact, and it is unethical. Did you hear the story of somebody who said at Ijebu-Jesha, when you get there, very near, it happened to me, and I saw it. This one didn't see anything. So inside that well, there was a cow who gave birth to a bird. I mean, stories like that, and it will be because you know your listening audience is a gullible one, and then you play on their intelligence. That goes on.
That's more in the Yoruba presentation.
Yes, more in the Yoruba presentation. But you have a preponderance of Yoruba presentation in the broadcast industry today. Yeah. So we have a problem with that. In a nutshell, if you ask me, as you have asked me, on-air personalities are not doing well.
What can we do to...
We've been mentioning it one way or the other. One, they have to be trained. One, in any case, maybe we should even start by saying that before somebody goes on air, let that person have a copy of broadcast, what do we call it? Ethics in broadcast. So you know that certain things you cannot say, certain things you cannot do. The way you present things, you cannot get from there. But at least you will know that you cannot present fiction as fact. And then you will find out that you have to verify your fact before you broadcast. If you see the sanctions against fake news, you can get that from that place. But from the proprietors of broadcast houses, that's why I said maybe it will be costly for each one of them to embark on training their staff. But maybe they can come together as pool resources together. But they really need to train on-air personalities. They are not trained, and so they just go there and do what they like.
Apart from affectation and mannerism, pronunciation, be it in Yoruba, be it in any broadcast language amongst Nigerian broadcasters, it's a little bit not up there. People pronounce anyhow they like. If it is in English, you want to pronounce in the received pronunciation. If it is Yoruba, the way we pronounce it.
I think the English, the presenters in English have a problem. Now, the received pronunciation is mostly British. But what they hear, what they listen to is American. And so there is a hybrid. So they don't know where to go. And that's why I said the affectation. One bit you want to speak like an American broadcaster, and the other bit you remember, I've been trained as a British broadcaster. So somewhere along the line you get mixed up. But over and above that is that there are many broadcast on-air personalities that are not even trained. to do what they are doing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. They go to school, come back, and think.
Yes.
Ownership, you mentioned it in passing. Ownership is very central to broadcasting. To what extent is broadcast ownership a pain or a worry to professional broadcasting in our country?
Well, they say who pays the piper. Calls the tune, not dictate. Calls the
What's the difference between the two?
No, it is an expression. It's a fixed expression that you cannot change. In fact, it is good. This is coming up. You will hear our broadcasters have not say he who pays the piper dictates the tune. It is wrong. It's a fixed expression. You cannot change it.
Yeah.
It's he who pays the piper calls the tune. It's just
in fact, you are right in the sense that you don't dictate the tune. You call for a song, for a tune.
Call, yes. It's a call. Give me that because you have paid the piper. Or I've seen broadcasters saying lost but found. Well, it may not make sense to you when you say lost and found. It may make sense to say lost but found. But you cannot say that because it's a fixed expression. It is fixed and it is lost and found. So the problem with ownership is that as a broadcaster, you must do what the owner wants. So he dictates. So he calls the tune. And so
yes, I wanted to get it right. He calls the tune. Yes.
So when he calls the tune, you have to give him that tune.
Yeah.
And that's where we have a problem. We have a problem. One, we are in a democratic setting that we have not really grasped the virtues of democratic process. We are good in the vices of those democratic processes. And so,
what are some of these vices? Okay, go ahead. Don't let me break your thoughts.
and so a broadcast owner would want you to do what he wants, what he likes, which may be vices.
Okay, sorry.
So what I'm saying is that the problem that broadcasting houses would have would be the bias dictated by the owners.
But that is not only restricted to Nigeria. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere. And we are seeing the result, for instance, in America. You can see the problem that Fox has created in America today.
Yeah.
And it will take America many years to come out of that.
Margaret Thatcher nearly created similar.
Okay, good. When he said BBC was the fifth columnist in the Falkland. So these are the issues. And it is a deliberate thing. It was because the Fox ownership is still pro-Trump that they were distorting feed news, distorting information. And you see a lot of people would also buy into it. And so the American society is polarized today. So much that even when it was clear that nothing was done bad about election, you still have a lot of people till today who believe that the election of 2020 or what it went, 2020 was rigged. And so Trump begins to have a large followership arising from fake news by Fox.
You are a television producer and film producer. What's your latest work?
Well,
I know you have done. You are into a barring of.
Yes. I was the second assistant director.
What is your film production? What do you have in the can now?
We have one directed by Yemi Amodu. Yemi Amodu is a well-known name in the film industry. Yeah. He has just directed a film which is titled Erebe. The idea is, the thing the film is depicted is how do you and I, the powers that be, the culture, the tradition, how do we relate to economic activities in our society without creating problems? How? For instance, in mining, which is the focus of a particular area of Erebe. What is the relationship between artisanal mining and the society culturally? How do they relate? So the film is looking at the conflict between the tradition and economy and mining.
Okay. We're expecting it to be released soonest.
Yes. In fact, the plan was for the thing to be released for Idel Fitri.
Idel
Fitri.
Idel Kabir.
Oh, okay, yes, for Idel Kabir. But the producer...
All is not...
No, it's just that, sorry, the director. He is somebody who believes in growth. Any slight problem, he would say no.
Okay.
So that's why it will be, but very soon.
I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
We want to go on a short break, and when we come back, we will leave your profession and come into the reality which belongs to all of us. Okay. We will go into governance. I have been, in the last 22 minutes, a homely chat with FOLUSO ADEDIGBA, a broadcaster, a communication consultant, a filmmaker, and a television producer. We will be back.
Damosi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's independence. He was a key founder of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, a political party that held lofty the torch of liberty for the two West African countries. He carved a niche for himself as a wordsmith and a creative speaker. The nickname Kwenkele was a natively corrupted version of peculiar mess, his bombastic English language style often used to score proceedings at the parliament. The author of Africa in Ebullition, a handbook of freedom for Nigerian nationalists, was Nigeria's Federal Minister of Natural Resources and Social Services between 1955 and 1956. He died in an auto crash on the 25th March 1958 at the age of 42. Western Spring Television identifies Adegoke Adelabu as a watershed character in history. Ahmadu Bello, a Prince Royal, was born 6th of December 1910 at Raba Village, Sokoto, northwestern Nigeria. His father was a district head and heir apparent to the Sultanate throne from the house of Usmanu Danfodio, a religious and social reformer who brought the Habib dynasty under the Fulani Caliphate in the beginning of the 19th century. Ahmadu Bello raised the bar of political consciousness and participation when, in 1944, he engineered the establishment of the Northern People's Congress (NPC) as the first political party in northern Nigeria and the rallying point for politicians in the region before independence. History will not forget Ahmadu Bello for his charisma and political sagacity, which provided easy passage for his kinsmen to assume political and administrative positions in Nigeria's post-independence era. The distinguished elder statesman and Sardauna of Sokoto has his face on his country's 200 naira currency as a mark of honor to one of the architects of Nigeria's independence. Western Spring Television identifies Ahmadu Bello as a watershed character in history.
You're welcome. Welcome back to Pertinent Question. In the studio with me is a broadcaster, communications consultant, television and film producer. We have discussed television, radio, and media communications. Now I want us to veer into a unit that concerns all of us. Everybody wants good governance. The president has been on for 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, he was inaugurated at the Eagle Square. Look at it as an elder statesman. Has he impressed you? Has he surprised you? Has he disappointed you?
Well, there's this English saying, that man hits the ground running.
Mm-hmm.
The Yoruba would say, Ayabele obeare. If Ayababe select obeare, if Aya does that, and or a man hits the ground running, then he is performing. That's the first thing.
Okay.
It's a positive thing. It means that person is performing. Now, you and I are always praying for good governance in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You and I don't belong to any political party. Yeah, we know that. But we want good governance. Now, if we have a president who is doing within 3 weeks what many have not been able to do before now, I think the first thing to do is to say, thank God, our prayer is being answered. And then let us analyze what the president has done within this very short period. And if you ask me,
Which I'm asking you.
I would say I am impressed.
Okay.
I am impressed. But again, Yoruba would also say that the race is not for the fastest,
For the swift.
but for the swiftest ahead. So we may still be waiting to see what he will do for that. But the first thing we must acknowledge is that this guy is performing.
Okay. So you are not disappointed?
No.
You are impressed? Are you surprised?
Well, I would say I'm not surprised because I would expect him to do this because he has said that during his campaign and
the immediate post-election period.
He has always been saying that. And one of the respected voices in the politics of this country, Bishop Kuka, said that he believes the current president was the most prepared person for the job.
Okay.
So if he said that, and I will be following that, then if he's doing this, I shouldn't be surprised.
In the spirit of hitting the ground running, which you translated as Aya Bele Ubari, President BAT appears to be firing on all cylinders. You're an elder. Is this not, or can this not be dangerous?
No, it cannot be, or I would say can it be? No, it shouldn't be dangerous. It can, but it shouldn't.
Could it be?
But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be because you have to hit the ground running. That's what we expect from a president. We do not want something that he can solve in 2 days or in one day to take. No. So I can't see any problem in him hitting the ground and running. That exactly is what he's doing.
Some of the international media have started to call him Baba.
Baba, go fast.
Go fast.
Yes. First of all, we have to be wary about what international media would say. One, as we discussed earlier, the media would be would do what their owners want. Yeah. And most of these international media do not want the best for us in this country.
In Africa, generally.
We shouldn't forget that fact at all. And even if the Western media and institutions are praising our president, we should take it with a grain of salt. J.P. Morgan, for instance, say good. This fiscal policy or monetary policy is okay. Yes, that's okay. But I think we should take it with a grain of salt because JP Morgan will be looking at where it will gain things that will benefit him, but not benefit majority of Nigerians.
Well, 20 special advisors have been approved by the Ninth Assembly, the Ninth Senate. The president requested for. 8 have been given assignments. 2 of them are women. I don't expect you to know all of them, but the few that you may know, would you say they are right people in the right places?
Well, I think it is not even good for most people not to know these people. Yes, don't know them. Let us know them by what they will do. For instance, that lady, Olaolu, the energy expert, believe me, I was hearing about her for the first time. But look at her pedigree. This lady, given the opportunity, I'm giving the free hand, is likely to perform. Now, we all know about Alake all along. In the areas of communication, there will be no problem. I mean, he will perform. We know about Ribadu and security. So, but the many of them that we don't know, we don't even have to know them. Let us know them.
That's what you think.
Yes, let us know them by what they will do. The man is assembling a group of technocrats, I think. And let us see what the technocrats will do. There are certain things that would not benefit us if you say it must be politically correct.
Correct. But at the same time, won't the president be digging some nasty grounds if he concentrates on all of our appointments on technocrats?
There will be areas where you can do without being technocratic. But where you need expert skill, professional skill, it is, and I think he is going to do that. I think he would have to put those people who have the skill, who have the professional know-how in those places. There are so many political offices that they can spread, and I'm sure they will do that. But the point is, from the word go, we must, any government that we want and that we are praying for must be thinking about us, Nigerians.
Did you foresee the plight that has come the way of Godwin Emefiele on one side, and how come that Nigeria appears to be disgracing all its EFCC leadership consistently and constantly?
Nigeria is disgracing.
It appears to. Like I said,
why don't you put it the other way around? That is, the EFCC bosses have been disgracing Nigeria. that should be the thing. You see, because if they were good in their job and they did the job the way they should do, they won't leave the place in disgrace. So that's what I think. They have not been putting the right people there. We should stop that. Put people who will do the thing. Emefiele, what do you expect of a person like that? I've had discussions with experts in monetary policies, experts in economics, and they have always said that Emefiele was not the right person for that position from many perspectives. Lamido Sanusi said so. Our man in African Bank said so, and many other people. My son also said so, and he read economics. Yes, he read economics, and he said so.
And he's a PhD.
Yes,
so he's a professional.
Yes. So he said, "This is not the right person for that." And if we didn't even know all the things they were being saying, but at least we saw what happened.
Early this year.
So how can you say such a person should hold the position he was holding, and to continue to hold that position? So I'm not surprised.
And it's 29 years. And you Nigerians were watching. Okay. 70% of the 10th National Assembly, the members are newcomers. Is that good for institutional memory of that first arm of government?
I think so. I think so. Even if even if it is more than that, it's okay. Yes, they'll be coming with fresh ideas.
And then where do you take the experience that some acquired?
Okay, good. What experience? Ghana must go experience. No, what experience do we want?
FOLUSO.
Let these new ones come with bright ideas and see. Let us debate it. Let them come with ideas. Let them debate the ideas, and let us have very few people who will use their so-called experience, their power to suppress them. So if they have more numbers in the house, I think it is better for us.
The rural area is marginalized in our contemporary politics and governance. What must the president do to lift up the rural area? Bulk of our people live there. Bulk of the population lives there.
Well, I think from his experience as governor of Lagos State, I think he might be able to get something done fast there. Don't forget, it was he who started first what's been done in some other states now, creating what do you call these things now? Local government, community government or something.
Local council, etc.
But I do know that the president believes in the immediacy of local government in terms of being close to the people.
Yeah.
That it is the local government that can. So I think if a lot of power will be devolved to the local government for them to perform. So what I think is that the local governments must be empowered to perform. The federal government cannot see what is going on in every rural area. The country is so vast that even if you see it, you may not even know the importance of it. So a local government, for instance, or a particular rural community may need water, may need road, may need market. If you are not on ground, you won't know which is the priority of all those things. Which one do
they need schools? You go and give them roads.
So it is the local government.
This question is very important. Put it, time is not on our side. The Police Service Commission have started what I would like to describe as zonalization of the top brass hierarchy. Is this good for our country? Does it not compromise seniority? I will give you the example. Today is Mba is today. 1 year ago he was commissioner. Today he's deputy IG. Now, representing Southeast. This is the question. I don't mind he's being promoted, but this zonalization, you must. Is it not at the expense of competence?
I think so. I agree with you. I think it's at the expense of competence, and it is not even good in the final analysis for this country. There's no country in the world where there is no measure of zoning or quota system. You have it, but you don't even sacrifice your goodness or good governance for political quota system, because that's what I've seen, especially in sensitive areas like this. If the guy was just a commissioner of police a few months back, he's already there. Now, he may be brilliant, but what experience is he going to bring to the table? And how does he now relate to those who were senior, which means they may all be retired or something. So, and then that's the one we are seeing clearly. It's coming to the media. There may be many others like that. That is, we are politicizing the quota system. The quota system is done everywhere, but where it doesn't have to be that every zone must be in a particular institution, must be represented in a particular institution.
Seniority is very important.
It is very important. Experience is very, very important. And competence. Are you going to say that he's the most competent for that post?
Okay. I have 2 minutes. I want to ask you this question. You are an elder statesman. Last week, Friday you turned 71. So you are not a small boy. Now, the question is, that was only a lead to the question, what must Nigerians do to encourage and to support this government that you think is doing fine in 3 weeks? What must all of us Nigerians do?
First of all, we have to reorientate ourselves. Let us agree that we have a government, at least for now, unless the Supreme Court says no. Let us agree we have a government and then support that government. If we do not, we are going to be the ones to suffer for it. If we spend our time fighting, we won't get anywhere. We have a government, let us support that government. If we have ideas, let us throw the ideas to the government so that things can be done the way we want things to be done. But if we do not do that, because I don't belong to that party or the party that is doing, and we're saying something that we're doing something that should not be done, at the end of the day, we will be the ones to suffer.
On that note, I'd like to thank you very much, FOLUSO ADEDIGBA.
Yeah.
A broadcaster, renowned one for many years, a communication consultant, a filmmaker, a television producer. It's been a pleasure welcoming you into this studio. Again, you said it's a very good place.
Yes, it is I'm very impressed and I'm happy that our brother, our colleague,
one of your sons,
he has done a good job there, and he deserves our cola, our collective cola.
So when do we bring him that cola? you talk to us.
I'll talk about that.
To the viewer at home, this is where we will draw anchor. I have been in a very homely chat with a broadcast guru at 71. And a man who has also veered into governance and has expressed his mind. FOLUSO ADEDIGBA. Thank you very much for coming.
Welcome.
Until in another 2 weeks' time, when I have the opportunity of coming your way again, we're saying thank you very much for your time and for your listening. ADETOYESE SHITTU ALAMU is my name. Good afternoon to you all.
Ahmadu Bello, Prince Royal, was born 6th of December 1910 at Raba Village, Sokoto, northwestern Nigeria. His father was a district head and heir apparent to the Sultanate throne from the house of Usmanu Danfodio, a religious and social reformer who brought the Habib dynasty under the Fulani Caliphate in the beginning of the 19th century. Ahmadu Bello raised the bar of political consciousness in participation when, in 1944, he engineered the establishment of the Northern People's Congress (NPC) as the first political party in northern Nigeria and the rallying point for politicians in the region before independence. History will not forget Ahmadu Bello for his charisma and political sagacity, which provided easy passage for his kinsmen to assume political and administrative positions in Nigeria's post-independence era. The distinguished elder statesman and Sardauna of Sokoto has his face on his country's 200 naira currency as a mark of honor to one of the architects of Nigeria's independence. Western Spring Television identifies Ahmadu Bello as a watershed character in history.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1. There are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Evelyn Ohiole,
Hi.
King Eve. How are you today?
I'm good, I'm fine, I'm alive.
I really feel like she's not giving the right answer to the question. When one asks you, how are you? And you said, you're saying, I'm alive. It's very annoying, seriously. How are you? I'm fine. I feel I'm fine will be the right answer instead of I'm alive. Not that I asked you if you're dead before.
Go and check all these 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, everybody, they are extraordinarily sexually active.
I feel is being unnecessarily hyper when it comes to the issue of sex, because we talk about other topics and he feels so reserved. He really doesn't have anything much to say when it comes to other stuff. But when it's the issue of sex, I believe he's being unnecessarily hyper. That's when I have to pick an issue with him. I mean, it's just being unnecessarily there when we're talking about sex. Just like a child, his mom just got him his favorite chocolate or ice cream, very happy, doing as though if he doesn't have sex for a day, he's going to die.
When it comes to finance, women also support their husbands financially. You need me emotionally. You need me spiritually.
Cass is an amazing person.